This Honda Element was driving down the road at 50 miles per hour when the subframe completely failed. The driver lost total control and ended up here. And the worst part? They had no warning it was about to happen. If you own a Honda Element, especially in a rust-prone state, you need to watch this entire video. If you've been following this channel, you know I absolutely love Honda Elements. I own one that I'm building out right now that will be reintroduced to the channel shortly. I genuinely think they're one of the best vehicles Honda has ever made, and they're just so utilitarian. I've made a whole video or multiple videos about how much I love them. So if you want to check them out, they'll be up here or here. But today I think we need to talk about something that is really serious. We've seen it happen in various forms, but this is the first time I've seen like an actual critical safety issue that could affect your Element, and more importantly, could put you and your family in danger. A member of the Honda Element community recently shared these photos after experiencing catastrophic subframe failure while driving. This isn't about just a broken car. This is about a potentially life-threatening situation that I think every Honda Element owner needs to be aware of. Let me read you exactly what the owner posted. "Not my Honda. She will be dearly missed. Truth is, I was excited about the acquisition 2 years ago. I was more focused on what it was looking like under the hood, and I neglected to fully inspect the underside." Picture yourself driving down the highway. You're doing 50 miles per hour, everything feels normal, and then suddenly complete loss of control. That's exactly what happened here. The rear subframe, the critical structural components that holds your rear suspension and your wheels and everything together completely rusted through and failed. Just look at these images. This isn't surface rust, this is complete structural failure. Obviously these vehicles are 20 plus years old in some cases, but the metal literally disintegrated while the vehicle was in motion. The owner noticed that the rear tires were bowed in, but assumed a mechanic would have warned them if something was critically wrong during routine service. That assumption nearly cost them everything. After seeing this post on Reddit, I spent the last few hours diving deep into the Element forums, into Facebook groups, and talking to Element owners, and here's a few of the things that I learned. Here's what you need to understand. Honda Elements, particularly the 2003 to 2006 models, have a known vulnerability to subframe rust, especially if you're living in the Midwest, the Northeast, what you might call the Rust Belt states. Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, even Minnesota I would throw in there. Anywhere where they salt the roads in winter, this is potentially catastrophic. This owner specifically mentioned they were in Michigan and this was a 2003 Element. That's kind of ground zero for these issues, but I think this is something that every owner Element should take a closer look at just to be on the safe side, especially after seeing this extreme situation. The rear subframe on Elements is particularly susceptible because the way the subframe is constructed creates pockets where salt and moisture and debris accumulate. Years of winter driving with road salt creates the perfect environment for rust. It's the hidden damage, the stuff you don't see. The rust often happens from inside out, so you can't really see how bad it is until it's almost too late. And last but not least, the "it looks fine" trap. Surface appearance can be deceiving when the structural integrity is compromised from within, so do your due diligence, especially if you're buying a new Element or if you haven't checked it out closely in the last year or two. You definitely don't want to leave yourself in a situation that could be really bad. Now let's be completely real about what this means. When your subframe fails at highway speed, you don't just lose a car. You lose control of a 3,500 pound vehicle traveling at high speed. Think about what you were doing the last time you were driving your Element at 50 miles per hour. Were you on the highway with the kids in the back? Were you in traffic surrounded by other cars? Were you on a bridge or out on a mountain road? Now, we love our Elements because they're practical, reliable, perfect adventure vehicles, but if the structure holding your rear wheels to your vehicle is compromised, none of those things matter. This owner said they didn't feel any signs of warning. That's terrifying because it means you can't necessarily rely on the car feeling wrong before it fails. And let's be honest, that's how most of us DIY Element owners and car fans look out for problems. Okay, so what do you do? How do you make sure this doesn't happen to your Element? Step 1, inspect your subframe now. Don't wait for your next oil change. Don't assume your mechanic is checking this for you. Literally get under your Element, or better, get it up on a lift and take a closer look at the rear suspension and the rear subframe mounting points. Are all the welded areas and seams looking right? Do you see anywhere where rust is exiting? Do you see the control arm mounting points? Are they potentially hazardous? Any of these things could be signs to bigger problems. So take a close look at these. Now, surface rust is a minor concern, but you do need to kind of monitor it. Flaking or scaling rust, that's kind of a moderate concern. Rust holes, completely compromised metal, that's critical. Don't drive it. Don't even take the chance. And any cracking or separation at the welds is also a situation where you just don't want to take a chance. Step number 2, and if you're not really a DIY type person, just jump ahead to this one. Get a professional inspection. If you live in the Rust Belt, find a mechanic who specializes in Hondas or understands rust issues. Don't just go to a quick lube place. You need somebody who will put your element on a lift, use a wire brush to scrape away the surface rust, and really check under the surface to look at the structural integrity, not just surface appearance. Number 3 in the process is just address these issues immediately. If you find rust, here's what you need to do. For minor surface rust, clean it, treat it, protect it with rust prevention products. For moderate rust, consider subframe reinforcement or replacement if you can find one. For severe rust, do not drive the vehicle. Don't even try it until it's completely repaired and you've swapped in a new replacement. Now, if your subframe is completely solid, here's how you can keep it that way. First, regular undercarriage washing, especially after winter driving. Get the salt off before it does any damage. Don't just spray, really clean the nooks and crannies, because this is where the rust is going to potentially build up. Second, you're going to want to prevent the rust with some sort of treatment. Use fluid film, NH oil, undercoating, or similar products. Do annual application in rust-prone areas, and focus on the subframe and all the suspension mounting points. I would also suggest at least annual inspections. Make it part of your routine maintenance, document with photos so you can track any changes, and catch issues early when they're actually fixable. For those of you that are considering buying a Honda Element, consider this before you make your purchase. Do a pre-purchase inspection. If you're buying a used Element, especially from a Rust Belt state, the owner of this Element said they were excited to purchase, so they focused on the engine and they neglected the underside. Don't make that same mistake. A pre-purchase inspection might set you back $100, $150, maybe $200, but it could also save your life. Now, I know some of you out there are probably thinking, should I be worried about my Element? Is this common enough that I should sell it? A lot of what I'm seeing suggests that the early models from 2003 to 2006, specifically the all-wheel drive models, have more subframe stress, which tends to lead to those weak situations in Rust Belt regions. Honestly, high mileage city drivers in that traffic, especially with those salty roads, can be really problematic. So do your due diligence before you make a purchase. If you're going to inspect it on your own, here are a few things to look for. If you are driving and the rear end feels loose or bouncy, alignment issues that keep coming back, or visible wheel camber changes where the wheels are tilting in or out, or those clunking sounds that aren't necessarily from the rear sway bar, which is a common thing where you just need to replace the bushing. If those clunking sounds don't go away from replacing that bushing, you definitely want to take a closer look at the rear suspension, and definitely keep an eye out for uneven tire wear, especially on the rear tires. As for some real talk from the community, I found dozens of posts from Element owners who've dealt with this. Some caught it early and reinforced their subframes. Others had to replace the entire thing. And unfortunately, like the case we're discussing today, some just found out the hard way. Here's some good news for you though. This is really kind of preventable as long as you catch it early. It seems like every owner who caught this early and addressed it has kept their Element on the road safely. But if you don't catch it early enough, or if you're seeing it on a vehicle you're thinking about purchasing, you can always walk away and find a different vehicle. And hopefully that's a life-saving decision. As always, just shout out to the Element community, because you can find all sorts of information on this if you do some due diligence ahead of time. Find out how to inspect your subframe a little bit closer. All sorts of DIY rust treatment, prevention, finding replacement subframes, people that have welded reinforcement plates on, and the best rust prevention products even. So do your due diligence. I feel like I've said that too many times, but just be careful out there, because it could be dangerous. I'll link to all of those resources in the description below, but this isn't about scaring you away from Honda Elements. I love these vehicles and I'll always own one. This is about making sure we're all safe and informed owners, and hopefully preventing the next owner from running into these problems that we're seeing today on Reddit. So get out there and check on your Element. Don't put this off this weekend. Get under your vehicle or take it to a trusted mechanic. Could literally save your life. And if you have friends or family that's considering buying a Honda Element, send them this video or send them any of the links in the description so they can be informed before they get themselves into a situation that could be dangerous. Last but not least, leave me a comment. Tell me what year your Element is. Where do you live? When's the last time you inspected the subframe? Have you seen this problem happen before? Let's use the comments to build a resource for the community. Now, if you want to know about my Honda Element build, Make sure you hit subscribe. I've got new videos on the way in the coming weeks. But look, I love Honda Elements. They're incredible vehicles, but like any vehicle that's 15, 20 years old, they need proper care and inspection, especially in areas with harsh winters. This issue is serious, but I think it's also preventable. Take care of your Element and it'll take care of you. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.